Hello, my name is Danielle Irisari, and this is a literacy center based on the book Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andreae with illustrations by Parker-Rees. So this literacy center is actually based on the need for lower level learners who are maybe working on that subject matter recollection still and pulling details from the story written in the text and in the text that they can apply to their learning. So in the Literacy Center, there'll be a bucket similar to this one with all the information inside of it. It'll have instructions and all the materials they need so they can pick it up and maybe take it to a mat somewhere or a beanbag chair at their desk, wherever they feel most comfortable learning and experiencing and getting their thoughts flowing instead of just sitting at a desk and doing kind of just any kind of busy work or anything like that. They really get their mental stimulation that they need. So in this literacy center, the students will complete bubble map. So there are two options for the students, which I think is important for the students to get those options. One says end and one says beginning. And if they choose the beginning one, in the center they'll fill out Gerald's name, who's the main character in the story, and in the outer lying bubbles they'll fill in adjectives that describe him at the beginning of the story, such as shy or clumsy, stuff they pull from the pictures and from the words in the text to really describe him. And then if they choose the end one, they'll do the same thing but him at the end of the story. So outgoing, happy, great dancer, anything that they pull from the story or the pictures in the story. And there'll also be colored pencils in here. There'll be markers in there for students to pick from, just so it's not pencil on paper. They get a little bit creative. They are allowed to add illustrations to it, which is important for students just in the center for the lower level students, so they work on that subject matter recollection and really get the concept. The standard this literacy center is based on is a second grade English language standard that reads, use information gained from illustrations and words in a print or digital text to demonstrate understanding of its characters, setting, or plot. So that really applies to this one because the students are using the words and pictures in the text in Giraffes Can't Dance to understand Gerald's, who is the main character, emotions and how he feels in the story. So that really gets that character aspect of that standard and addresses it well. The rationale behind this, it works with a meaningful connection. The students see Gerald's name in the center and work with the end of the story and kind of draw a connection between how he's doing at the beginning or at the end of the story and how he's feeling, the emotions in the story, the pictures and the words, making that connection rather than just hearing the story and just trying to maybe get something out of it. I feel like they really get more out of it. And concept maps on literacy centers do a great job of this, according to an article by Just Read Florida. And this template was actually printed offline from Cedar Point School. It was provided by Cedar Point School, and they have a bunch of different templates, and this one applied to this center directly, so that's the reason I chose it. And I think that's a great site to pull a literacy center bubble maps or concept maps or flowcharts, any type of map like that. It's really beneficial for students and does a great job. And according to Carol Tomlinson, the use of differentiation in the classroom is really important. So rather than the students just sitting there and listening to the text, they're getting a deep understanding, they're interactive, they're working with the text, they're working with colored pencils or markers, or really drawing a connection there between the story and the emotions in the story and the characters in the story, as well as the words and pictures that are in the story. So there's also a rubric for this center, which has 4 categories, and each of the categories has 4 different areas that you can score in, ranging from 1 to 4. So the first category is organization, which level 1 would be 0 to 6 points, level 2 would be 7 to 13 points, level 3 would be 14 to 19 points, and level 4 would be 20 to 25 points. So 25 points is the maximum you can earn, and each of the 4 sections, 25 points is the maximum you can earn. So it's 100 points total for the assignment. And if the paper was organized, if their bubble map was organized, they did well organizing their thoughts, then they would score well on it. If it wasn't organized at all, then they would score lower on it. The second category would be student knowledge with the same point breakdown. If they didn't understand it, the rubric reads, the student did not understand the text enough to fill in the bubble map accurately. The information in the bubble map was incorrect and did not link to the story. So that's what they would score if that's where they fell in it, and if they did well, it says the student understood the text and was able to complete the bubble map with no errors. The information was correct and linked directly with the story. So if they did well, they would score there, and there's area for total point value and how the students did there. The next one is completeness. This is just if they filled their bubble map in totally, or if they only filled one bubble in on the bubble map, they would score lower. If they filled it in completely, they would get full credit for it. Lastly, there's the presentation of it. Is it neat? Does it look right? Is the information in there presentable to be, say, hung on a wall or included in the classroom? If they scored well, it reads, the information in the bubble map could be read with no problems, and the information in the presentation was highly accurate. And then if they didn't do well, the rubric reads, the information in the bubble map could not be read and was not appropriately presented. So the students really have a wide range, and there's obviously categories in the center that they can choose from, where there's maybe a couple errors here and there that can be improved upon overall, and the student can see where they did well and what they did maybe they need a little help on. And there's also a section at the bottom for teacher comments in case she wants to include anything that the students really need to improve upon, or comment on what the students did great on, because that positive feedback is really, really important for students also.